Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. Welcome to episode 3 of 10 Ways to Gain Peace of Heart by Sheikh Abdul Razak Al-Badr Hafidhullahu Ta'ala. This is the month of Jumada Thani, Walillah al-Hamd, which means that the month of Rajab is on our heels, bi'idnillahi ta'ala. In the month of Rajab, which is the 7th month on the Islamic calendar, we will begin to talk about Shahrul Mubarak, the blessed month of Ramadan, which is the 9th month on the Islamic calendar, the month of fasting, the month in which the Quran was revealed. Bi'idnillahi ta'ala. We will start to deal with the month of Ramadan on the podcast, bi'idnillahi ta'ala. I haven't selected which work from which one of the scholars that we will deal with. We might deal with a couple of the ulama talking about the benefits of the month, what is permissible in a month, what is not permissible in a month, haketha, and like this. But we will begin to deal with this matter in detail in the month of Rajab, bi'idnillahi ta'ala. And then once we finish the work that we are on presently, which is 10 Ways to Gain Peace of Heart, we will choose another work after that, inshallah ta'ala. In a couple of weeks, the conclusion of the concise advices by Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah is coming out. So we will simultaneously be idnillahi ta'ala, or we might just in the month of Ramadan in the month of Rajab, deal with Ramadan on Mondays and Thursdays, Mondays and Wednesdays, bi'idnillahi ta'ala. And then we might choose another work either during the month of Ramadan or after the month of Ramadan, bi'idnillahi ta'ala. For today, the Sheikh, we are on the sixth factor. We are moving through this book, walillah alhamd, quite swiftly. We are on the sixth factor, and the Sheikh says the sixth factor of the 10 that brings peace to the heart is doing good deeds for doing good to Allah's slaves. Doing good to Allah's slaves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wa ahsinu, inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin, and do good, and certainly Allah loves the doers of good. Doing good, as the Shaykh says, Bismillah, doing good to the created beings can be done in a number of ways, through both tangible and intangible means. Examples include honoring someone, financial support, providing advice on a decision, and any other form of aid and assistance. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward a worshiper that does good to his servants by bringing peace to his heart, facilitating his affairs, and granting him a good end and outcome. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what is translated, whoever relieves a believer of any of the hardships of this life, Allah will relieve him of a hardship on the day of resurrection. And whoever makes things easy for one indebted to him, Allah will make things easy for him in this life and in the hereafter. And whoever conceals the faults of a Muslim, Allah will conceal his faults in this life and in the hereafter. Allah aids his servant as long as the servant is in the aid of his brother. End of the hadith. So the Sheikh says, so bringing benefit to people, assisting them, and stopping to fulfill their needs are significant factors in bringing about peace of heart. But as for those who are stingy with their good doing and miserly in giving and good deeds, then those are some of the most tight-chested people, most afflicted by anxiety and grief, with the most miserable lives. It has been authentically transmitted in both Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim that our noble Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam struck a profound comparison for this when he said, the comparison of a stingy person and a giving person is like two men wearing two coat mail cloaks from their chests to their collarbones. For the giving person, whenever he gives, it expands, or he said, it increases over his body until it covers his fingers and covers his traces. As for the stingy person, he does not want to give anything. It sticks to him, and every ring gets stuck in its place. He tries to make it looser, but it does not loosen. End of the hadith. The Sheikh says, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam compared a giving person and a stingy person to two men, each wearing a cloak made of iron to protect them. The norm is that this cloak covers the area from their chest to their collarbone, above the chest and below the neck. Whenever the giving person increases in his good doing towards others and spending on the needy, this cloak expands and its chainmail links increase. That is, they become wider and bigger until they cover his entire body and cover his fingertips. That is what the Prophet ﷺ's phrase was, until it covers his fingers, means. They also wipe away his footprints whenever he steps due to their length and size, which is the meaning of his statement, and cover his traces. As for the stingy person who does not do good to others or spend his wealth in charity, then every link of this coat mail cloak stays in its spot. And no matter how much he wants to loosen this cloak to protect his body, he is not able to do so. This is such a profound comparison, showing the effects of charitable spending versus stinginess on a servant's condition and his spiritual life. Charitable spending, giving, and good doing are all factors that expand one's chest. Provisions bring tranquility to one's heart and relax one's mind. They also contribute to erasing the traces of the sins which one has committed. But the stingy person is the opposite of that. Whenever he wants to give charity, his soul feels constricted and he becomes tight-fisted with his wealth. This leads him to have a miserable life and a constricted chest. This misery and constricted feeling corresponds to how stingy he is and how far removed he is from doing good to others. Naam. Naam. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will stop here. We will make this episode short, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and we will come back in episode 4, and we will deal with the 7th factor, which is courage, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. If you have any questions about anything you hear on the Heart Matters podcast, then email us at spiritualcoaching.150@gmail.com. That's spiritualcoaching.150@gmail.com. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد.